Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I take the dog out for a walk and deliver an episode to you while I stroll around. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, good morning, listeners. It's a lovely day here in suburban Chicago. The cicadas are still out in force, and somebody's doing a little bit of housework, hence the power machines you can hear. The big difference on this walk over previous walks is that I have a dog with me. Now, my in-laws are out of town for the next couple weeks. In fact, as a graduation present to my daughter, who's just graduated high school, my in-laws have taken her on a trip to Scotland. Very exciting, and I'm super jealous. But while they are away, we are keeping an eye on their dogs. So I haven't really walked a dog in about 8 years. But here I am walking a dog. So if you're hearing extra noises, that's probably the dog's harness. And we'll see if I can concentrate on doing a podcast and walking a dog at the same time. So it is June 2nd, which means it's time for the Top of the Stack. Top of the Stack is a monthly episode in which I talk about the games I played in the most recent month. Most recent month being May of 2024. I stole the name Top of the Stack from the podcast of Nonsensical Gamers, who used to do as a regular bit what games they've been trying to play lately or are planning to play. It's the top of the stack, so to speak. So I will start with some stats. This month in May, I played 69 games, or 69 plays of 49 different games. It was a robust month for playing different things. My year total so far is 373 plays of 151 different games. My shelf of opportunity reduced by 3. That's pretty good. Went from 68 to 65. My collection size did not get smaller, which is the usual goal, but it stayed the same. I did not acquire any games last month. I did not get rid of any either, but that's okay. So that's the collection size stats. On to the actual top of the stack. I had 4 games on my stack this month. I wanted to play Ryu, Columbo Detective Game, Hadrian's Wall, and Porta Nigra. And I'm pleased to announce that I had done 3 of those 4 games. We did play Ryu, Columbo Detective Game, and Porta Nigra. We did not play Hadrian's Wall. I did actually get it played yesterday, which was June 1st, but that's one day too late to count in the May stats. So, but 3 out of 4 is the desired goal. So achievement. In fact, I think that's the first time this year that I achieved the 3 out of 3 goal. Huzzah. So continuing on, I had a bunch of new games this month that I tried. Porta Nigra, Far Away, Dropolter, Mandala, Columbo Detective Game, Ryu, and PAX Renaissance 2nd Edition. PAX Renaissance 2nd Edition and Mandala were both played electronically via Board Game Arena, so I'm not as solid on the plays of those as I would have been in other things, but still pretty good. So that is, those are my new games. That brings me up to 34 new games played this year. Feeling pretty good about that. It's good pacing. Not quite 10 a month, but that would be excessive. I did not try any expansions this month, which was fine. I did get to dust off quite a few games. If you've forgotten, a dusty game is one that I haven't played in a year or more. So when I dust off a game, that means it's been more than a year since I played it, and I am trying it out. So I'm metaphorically getting the dust off of the game as I pull it off the shelf. I did 9 dusty games this month. Started with Tiny Towns, which is fun as always, but I was again reminded how much I like that game far more than a lot of my family does, so I'll probably get dusty again. We played Things, the classic party game where everybody writes something on a piece of paper and then everyone tries to guess who wrote that thing. I like that game a lot. It's a good time. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a fun one. No, it's not. What? I just instinctively say that. No, I don't like photosynthesis. If you listened to the episode recently in which I reminded you that I don't like photosynthesis, now I need to remind myself. I don't like that game. Let's not play it again. 1 year, 1 month, 5 days on that. Roll for the Galaxy. Somebody got that out of Toggle. I really enjoyed it. It was reminding me how much I like it and makes me want to get it out again sometime soon so we can play with more expansions, because that one's really fun, and I have a bunch of expansions for it that I haven't played. I've always enjoyed Roll for the Galaxy quite a bit, and now having played it again recently, this would be a great opportunity to get it out and play some of the rest of the modules in the expansion that I already had, and the modules in the other expansion, which I've never tried. So that's Roll for the Galaxy. Beyond Baker Street. This game was 4 years, 7 months, and 15 days dusty. Beyond Baker Street is sort of like somebody played Hanabi and said, you know, that game would be more fun if it were a little more thematic. Boom, more thematic. That's the idea of Beyond Baker Street. It was good. We lost both games. We played it twice, but we had a lot of fun playing it. Again, 4 years, 7 months, 15 days dusty. We also played Big Book of Madness. This is one of my favorite cooperative games that's not hard enough. I can't remember the last time we lost Big Book of Madness. We usually win it handily, and even with playing it on, we played it on hard, and they have extra things you can do to put it on like nightmare mode, and it's still like nothing on nightmare mode. I mean, it takes some coordination, but it's really good. It's a great theme, and I love the mechanics. They've got this cool thing where you have your player board, you have an area in your player board called the reserve, and when you play a card into the reserve, it counts as though it's in everyone's hand, which is just a really neat mechanism for getting for sharing your resources, which is, you know, co-op games are often not great at that, so that works really well. I like Big Book of Madness a lot. I wish it were harder. Played Unstable Unicorns, which I haven't played for 1 year, 1 month, and 4 days. This game's fine. It's very Munchkin-y in terms of like you're acquiring a bunch of stuff, and if you have the most stuff, you win. And other people it's a take that game. And from that regard, it's not my favorite. Those were my dusty games of the month. Next up, we have notable plays this month. Now, this is a feature I added to just comment a little bit more on. Sometimes we'll play a game, and I sort of want to share a bit more about it after having played it. This time we played The Gardens from Brett Gilbert and Matt Dunstan. It is a game in which you are building gardens in the nature preserve in Sydney, Australia. It's a set collection game with a little bit of card laying in terms of arranging the tiles you have. It's very tactical though. Each round there are a number of cards laid out equal to the number of players. So if there's 4 players, there are 12 cards. And because there are 3 rows of cards that you're building, and you lay out 1 card in each row for each player. And then you take turns drafting them. And you have to draft 1 from each row. So there isn't a ton of choice, particularly as the round goes on. You get to the point where, like on your last turn, you're definitely taking 1 from row C because you already took A and B. What makes the game interesting is when you play your card, then you move your little person to that spot and you score points based on what you went past. It's a pretty good system for allowing for a variety of different tactics, but a huge part of it is just like which cards come out when. There's a huge amount of luck in terms of trying to get the cards to be where you need them to be, because you're not allowed to rearrange them. You have to play them out in the order that you played them. So if you just didn't get the card you wanted at the time you wanted, you're stuck. But we played with the Monuments expansion, which I did like quite a bit. The Monuments expansion is it's a module. It's not an expansion. It's a different set of boards that came with the game. And then on your turn, you're going to put you're going to play just like you normally would, except that as you play, you might cover up one of the 4 monuments on the board. And everybody's got the same monument on their board. When you cover up that monument, if you're the first person to do so, then you take the monument card, which gives you either immediate points, or more often it gives you a point scoring matrix that will score at the end of the game. So I liked the extra thing to think about in the gardens. It's a little simple for my taste, and if it weren't a gift from my in-laws, I'm not sure I would keep it, but it was a gift and they do enjoy it, so we play it regularly, and I'm happy to play it. It's definitely one of those games where I'm happy to play if someone suggests it, but it's not in my favorite list or anything. Nonetheless, it's an enjoyable game, and it's very pretty. That's The Gardens. That was my notable play that I wrote down for the month. Next up, we've got my gameplay challenge, my 10 for 10 challenge. You'll remember that this year for my 10 for 10 challenge, I set out 10 categories, and I'm trying to play 10 games that fit each category. We've made good progress, but I'll review the whole thing. As a reminder, the legacy/campaign category, we've already got 10 plays in that category. Boom, done. And sometimes one game might end up fulfilling roles in multiple categories, but just as a reminder, I never count the same play for more than one instance of the category. So for example, several of the plays in the 3-hour plus category are for Frosthaven, and several of the plays in the legacy/campaign game category are for Frosthaven, but no individual play of either of those games is counted for both categories. Hopefully that's clear enough. So anyway, our legacy campaign, we're at 10. We finished that before this month. This month we got one play for the nature/animal category, and that was photosynthesis. So we're up to 6. We got one play in the 3-hour game, 3+ hour game category, and that was Frosthaven. We're up to 9 of those, so one more 3-hour game and we'll be done. I'm sure I'm going to finish that in June. Then we have cute animals. These are games where the characters or other themes have you playing either anthropomorphized animals or just something with cute animals. If the game is sort of just straight nature, like Cascadia would not count for cute animals, but I think Calico would count for cute animals. So it's a judgment call. Thus far, we've only played 3 games in that category. I have not played any more. Escape room. Now, I don't mean going to public or professional escape rooms. That 10 of those in a year would be a pretty expensive proposition, given they usually cost about $25 to $35 to $45 a person. So we generally don't do more than a couple a year of that, and we go when we have coupons. That said, I do like escape room games like Unlock or Exit, and so this year I'm trying to count plays of those and get 10 of them in. We did have one this month, Unlock Extraordinary Adventures, so we've gone from 3 to 4 of those. Next up we have the novelty category. Novelty games are games that I have in my collection, not because I think they're probably good necessarily, although they could be good, but more I own them because it's a novelty to own them. For example, this month we played the Columbo detective game, which I bought because I like Columbo. I didn't think it was probably a very good game, and we were right. I mean, it was fine. There was a roll and move component that was not as good as other things could have been about figuring out the game or figuring out a game. It didn't need to be roll and move. It would have worked just fine without it, but in the game you're trying to collect these cards that make a picture, and the picture helps you establish what the crime was. It works out well. That's called Columbo Detective Game, and that is the 3rd novelty game we played this year. So I do need to up my novelty game quota if I want to make that goal. Next up we have the alphabet category. The first 10 letters of the alphabet are A through J, and I have in fact already completed that category. That was before this month. The next category is K through T, and I have 8 of those played. There are 2 missing. I'm not sure off the top of my head which 2 are missing, but we have alphabet U through Z and 4 numbers, and we did not get any plays of either the alphabet K through T or U through Z and 4 numbers. So the 4 numbers thing, the idea is we play one game that starts with a single digit, and we did 7 wonders already. Then we need to play a game that starts with 2 digits, 3 digits, and 4 digits. The larger digit numbers are going to be harder, so we'll have to see what we can find for that. My current H index is 8. As a reminder, an H index is number of games you've played times the number of times you've played them. So an H index of 3 would say that you have 3 games you've played 3 times each. I'm up to 8 for this year, meaning I have 8 games I've played 8 times each. And those games are Daybreak, That Time You Killed Me, Gaia Project, Obsession, Frosthaven, Res Arcana, Motainai, and Through the Ages. I am chagrined to report the only one of those that fits in-person plays is Frosthaven. All the rest of those are at 8 because I play them regularly online, but that's okay. My Shelf of Opportunity, I am slowly working on it. I did play in my new games this month, Porta Nigra Colombo Detective Game and Ryu are all games that I own. So that's 3 games off my Shelf of Opportunity this month, which is pretty good. More importantly, my collection size update. At the beginning of the month, I was at 589 games. And at the end of the month, I'm at 589 games. I did not purchase any new games this month, and I did not divest myself of any games this month. I intended to divest myself, but I didn't get around to it. But in June, I'm definitely going to do an aggressive call to get rid of games that are in the category of fun, but do I really need to own that? Probably not. I'm going to have to take a serious look at my Martin Wallace collection because I have a bunch of Martin Wallace games that I never play, that I kind of am holding on to because they're Martin Wallace games more than because I want to play them a lot. Although most of them I like, so I don't know. We'll see about that. And then finally, I document my unplayed expansions as well, and I did not play any unplayed expansions this month. All right, the last thing I do each month is I pick the new games that I'm going to play in the coming month. For my new game, I picked Mythic Mischief. This was a Kickstarter game that looks pretty fun. It's kind of a dueling factions not area control game, light skirmish game with a sort of puzzly element. It looks pretty cool. I got it for $3 at Goodwill. I looked it up. The edition that I have was $95 on Kickstarter, so that was a good buy. I do have a copy of The Office Downsizing Game, which is a game where you are, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really looked at it much. I have it for the novelty category because I like the TV show The Office, and so I have a bunch of novelty games about The Office. So I would like to play that at some point. Maybe I'll bring that to Toggle and we can try it out. I thought for one play, we might try Scooby-Doo in the Haunted Mansion. I don't know when I'll try that, but I thought it would be fun to get that played. And finally, my try again choice of game I'd like to play, that I keep trying to play and haven't gotten played yet, is Forum Trajanum. So those are my top of the stack for the next month. Well, that leads me to my big question. What are you planning to play this month? One of my favorite things about the Pick Up and Deliver community is the way that we chat about things, and usually we do that on Board Game Geek. If you haven't been over to Board Game Geek and joined Guild 3269, which is the Pick Up and Deliver Guild, please do that. That would be really fun to get a hold of you. Drop a line in there, say hello. And I would say the most common thing that we post about is the top of the stack. Usually when I put out this episode, then somebody goes in and starts the top of the stack thread. If no one does, I will do that, but I often forget to do it before someone else does, and I appreciate that among you. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you're playing. What are you playing this month that you weren't going to play that you were wanting to play last month? Did you get it played? Are you rolling things over? Are you trying new things? What's the plan? I'd love to know, and I'd love for us to chat about it on Board Game Geek. There are other ways to reach out to me as well. You can send me a direct message on Board Game Geek. Wombat929 is my username there. My email address for the podcast is brendan@rattleboxgames.com. You can send me a message there. I guess you could shout into the ether. That probably wouldn't do anything. If you haven't ever reviewed the podcast, it would be great to have some reviews in the places where you listen so that other people can find the podcast. We are occasionally getting new listeners. Welcome to anybody who has stumbled upon this little corner of the internet. Thanks for joining me. But most of all, let us know what you're planning to play in June. What games are coming up for you? All right, well, I've just reached the end of the walk. The walk with the dog went fine. It didn't seem like I had to spend a lot of time talking about the dog, so hopefully that went okay. Thanks for joining me and my dog on the walk today. I hope your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye. What are you doing? I would like you to stay on this side, please. Thank you. This month we played The Gardens, which is from Matt Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. Brett Gilbert and Matt Dunstan. We play one game that has a cicadas landed on me again. Come on. Get off me.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.